It's a Godwinson live news alert. It's fight night, folks. Two worlds collide, rival nations. It's a primitive clash, venting years of frustrations, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're covering the greatest feud in internet history, known only to about a handful of people, myself included. But it's our responsibility on this show to educate and inform, and that's exactly what we intend to do tonight. Now, we're going to be covering the JQ. I've got a few woes in the chat. That escalated quickly. It's not the JQ as you know it. This is internet prehistory JQ. This is the JRPG question. That's what dominated the internet prior to Sargon and Spencer and the Warski Live watershed moment. The JQ in question is the JRPG question. And our two principal players are Jay Friedan, the RPG fanatic, and Ace Lieri, Acer2, reviewing a reviewer. We've got an epic stream tonight. This actually might be my best one. I've written a really, really, really good vision for where this is going. It all exists in here. But before we begin, I want to give you a teaser of what's coming up this weekend, this crazy weekend, because this is merely just a little interlude stream. A little flavour of what's to come. Because what we've got planned this weekend is going to blow your minds. You're not going to know what this means yet. But at the Copacabana, music and passion is the fashion. Give me about 2 days, you're going to know exactly what that means, folks. At the Copacabana. Right, let's get into fight night, shall we? We've got a really, really great bit of lore here. Again, only a few will actually know this beforehand. But what happened was, back in the day, I want to say about 15 fucking years ago, but it's all in the Godwinson archive and we're going into it blow by blow tonight. The RPG fanatic, otherwise known as Jay Friedan, he took issue. He took up arms against Clan of the Grey Wolf. Now, Clan of the Grey Wolf is Jimmy Rue, the man who made 8-bit and 16-bit gems, doing high quality 10 out of 10 reviews on stuff like Dragon Quest, on stuff like Final Fantasy, Lufia. We're going to get into that one in just a second. But he posts a review of Lufia 2. And within that review, he decides to use the term JRPG. Japanese role-playing game. Right? Now, we don't bat an eye, but this was back in the day when the JQ needed to be settled. Jay Friedan, the RPG critic, the RPG fanatic, I should say, decides to make his name. Calling Joey Rue, of Clan of the Grey Wolf, a fucking racist. He calls him a racist for using the term JRPG. Apparently, if a game's made in Japan and described as such, it's racist. Fucking chaos ensues. This is just the introduction to all of this. We're setting the scene. Ace Lieri decides to defend Clan of the Grey Wolf's honour, and the greatest saga in internet history plays out. Now, I'm going to introduce the two principal players, because Clan of the Grey Wolf is merely incidental to what subsequently plays out. Our two principal players are the RPG Fanatic and Aesilieri. So I'm going to roll up what I feel is probably the best introduction to Jay Friedan, the RPG Fanatic. And whilst we get that up, I'm going to give you a little preview of what's coming next at the Copacabana. Because Lola, she was a showgirl. You don't know what's coming, but I do, and it's going to be chef's kiss sweet. There ain't going to be no it is what it is. There ain't going to be no American Method Kids for 50. Instead, it's just pure Kino Dogma 2007. Right, so Jay Friedan is here, and I feel that the best thing we can do is if we line him up, play him in, go to a relevant timestamp that I feel reveals parts of his character, and then we introduce the next player. This is the RPG Fanatic. About 15 fucking years ago.
To make those pledges, and the more money we get, the better the final product will
so,
be. So we'll have more money for
the RPG Fanatic. A quick overview of who this man is. Like Aesilieri, he decided to make his name reviewing the reviewer, and he also made his own video game reviews, and he also self-styled himself as a filmmaker, as a true patrician of our times. And I feel that the best timestamp to go to, just quickly, is 18 minutes in. This is all incredibly well studied, so I think we'll go to that timestamp.
Or bad luck without ever losing sight of their dream and ambition. Hope you achieve huge success in the future.
So he's doing a Q&A with his audience.
Yeah, I do the blog because
he writes a blog. That's important for later.
About me. And secondly, because when I know that I'm going to be very successful eventually.
Right, listen to this.
And hopefully soon.
One day.
Once that happens, I don't want people to get the idea that, things just sort of clicked for me and it was this overnight success story, which it hasn't been. Now I know
the RPG Fanatic story is amazing. We're covering the whole timeline.
There's a lot of very interesting things, I think, that have happened during these past 6 months. And some of the things I'll also be talking about is during the production of G-Kaiser. Lots of trials and tribulations, I would say. So I will be releasing those. I might release them I think I'll release them after we start the editing process of G-Kaiser. That's when I will start releasing some more of them.
I think G-Kaiser was his, he made his own Power Rangers series or something. Right, okay. So that's Jay Friedan, and he obviously takes exception with the review we're about to see just after we introduce Aesilieri, our other principal player in this Fight Night saga. So, and I feel that this introduction to Aesilieri probably best encapsulates who the man is, the line of enemies he's created, and we're going to get into it just now. This is his intro to the Reviewing a Reviewer. And this is King of Fighters. We'll just skip to when he starts talking. Aesilieri.
Hello, dear viewer. The new year is upon us, and I'm ready to make my New Year's resolutions. You see, over the years, I've talked about tens of reviewers, and public responses to my opinions have always run the gamut from positive, at times sycophantic agreement, to, Asa, you are fat and gay and fat, and I hope you die in a fire like the fat, lonely virgin you are. Seems there's little use for the middle ground these days, huh, Internet?
Anyhow, so that's Aesilieri. So obviously we've introduced the two kings of our age, the two kings of our tale. This gets wild fast, but what I want to do first of all is show you the starting point where it all began. Now, it all begins with Clan of the Grey Wolf's Lufia 2 review. Now, this is one of the best reviews that were ever made back in the day. And we're going to show you now. So this is Jimmy Joey Rue, Clan of the Grey Wolf. And this is his review of Lufia and the Fortress of Doom.
First, and most importantly, the beginning of the first...
This is a great game, by the way. I do like this game.
Now,
But within this review, he calls Lufia 2 a JRPG, a Japanese role-playing game. And, like I say, the RPG fanatic Jay Friedan takes exception to this. He calls Joey Roo, Clan of the Grey Wolf, a fucking racist. But these were great reviews back in the day. We got a bit of history. We've got him in his toilet, sitting on a sink.
I say no. Now, it would be racist to say that two white guys walk into a bar and then a
The old school humour of 2008. You can't beat it. It's all here. And these were the gold standard of the classic reviews, right?
Hero, Maxim, is a social inept and quite possibly a thief. The story itself is rather Byzantine.
Now, I imagine you're thinking, how can something so innocuous cause such a shitstorm? Well, in the old internet, petty shit like this caused flame wars. And that's another term we need to bring back, the flame war. It's not A-logging, it's a flame war. So there we go. We'll switch this back to me. Yeah, Earthbound really pushed the envelope. What a great take. Innocuous little review, right? Nothing crazy in there. But obviously we kick off the JQ question. Now, to defend Joey Roo's Clan of the Grey Wolf's honour, there was only one champion. There was only really one champion for this. And that was Ace Salieri of Reviewing a Reviewer fame. And he decides to do a light-hearted parody. And we're going to get into that one just now. This is the first shot fired. And we're going to play along with the game show.
Hello, dear viewer. I'm your host, Antonio A. Sorelli, and this is Where's It From?
Right, we're going to play along with him. He's going to show us a few games, and we're going to try and guess where they're from. Japan or America?
We have two wonderful contestants.
Clan of the Grey Wolf.
Give it up for contestant number one, Joey Roo. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Roo.
So, what makes this game a gem in my mind? Well,
An 8-bit gem, or a 16-bit gem.
And yes,
The description here shows Ace's bias. Reasonable calm.
role-playing game, despite a small but concentrated movement out there that proposes this is not a real term. Why mention those people? Well, because in cyberspace, everyone can hear you scream.
Cyberspace. So there's the RPG fanatic.
Oh, hang on, contestant number two. We'll get to you in a moment.
And I feel I need to
Let Clan of the Grey Wolf speak.
Gains too much steam.
All right, so here we have contestant number two. So, Jay Friedan. Jay, how's it feel being number two all the time?
Fucking burn.
Challenge the assertion before it gains too much steam.
So look at how he describes Jay
The
Friedan.
alternate explanation that it makes sense, and that terrifies me, because I've been saying something stupid for many years, and I don't want to change my videos and update it, or admit I was wrong.
Whoa, sounds like we have a bitter boy here. Well, you both know the rules of the game. I'm going to show you a screenshot or video game footage from some video game, and you tell me...
And we're going to play along as well, ladies and gentlemen.
Or the US of A.
This is a pre-recorded stream. If you don't say your age or date of birth. Okay, Kujan.
This one's a little bit of a toughie.
Right, so this is Final Fantasy VI. Is it Japanese or an American role-playing game?
All right, time's up. Roo?
Japan.
Excellent. Jay Friedan?
The American one.
Nice man, a kid, just a little on the dumb side.
You gotta love the foghorn, leghorn, sick burns that are interspersed in this classic Kino Dogme video.
Because that was incorrect. That's 100 points for Roo. Well done. All right, so the scores are now 100-0. Question number two coming up.
Now, you know, in all the years that I've watched this video, I've never understood what this video game is. Can anyone tell me what this video game is?
All right.
I don't know the name of it.
Answer. Roo?
American.
Roo went with American this time. You, Jay Friedan?
Or European.
Oh, sorry. In this game show, your answer must come in the form of American or Japanese.
Oh,
Try again.
fuck.
I'm sorry. That's...
It looks like LucasArts Point. A Sierra adventure game I forgot the name of.
Ooh,
I think it's one of the King's
Quest.
Quest.
Your head onto concrete floor floors multiple times at birth.
Yeah, I think it's Fortnite as well, Miller.
The answer was, of course, American. American. So that's 200 points for Joey Rue. Trailing behind him, we have Jay Friedan at Zippo.
Zippo. Shots are fired.
Okay, please, Jay Friedan, we made it easy for you. Look, there's some kanji and hiragana and katakana, and look, there's an anime chick smiling right at you.
There she
There's
is.
a pagoda-looking house over there and some cherry blossoms and Mecca.
So is it American or Japanese,
You
folks?
haven't scored a single point all night with your retarded answers. Rue has 4,000 points, and we'd like you to at least be able to win some bus fare to get back to your dump on the crime-infested side of town where you're beaten repeatedly while you scream like a woman in the fetal position. After
Shots
which you'll likely rot your life away
fired.
arguing about stupid shit no one cares about online until your body is found after your inevitable death by autoerotic asphyxiation and are dumped in an unmarked grave hole where you'll ironically be more useful in death by serving as the local restroom for transients. Please
Oh, fuck.
answer correctly.
He's already dead.
or America and Canada and Europe and pretty much everywhere that isn't Japan.
You're an idiot. And boy, was I wrong to even nominally ever endorse your stupidity.
Oh,
But all
fuck.
joking
Right.
aside, you took 20
All
minutes
joking
to
aside.
say a lot of
Okay, so. If you think the Flame War just stopped in a light-hearted quiz show pointing fun at the RPG fanatic, not really knowing what an RPG is, calling JRPGs racist for using the term Japanese role-playing game, you'd be wrong. Because the saga only fucking escalates. The saga only escalates. Now, at this point in the drama, people were already up in arms. People were already making video responses and weighing their 2 pence into their waterfall. Now, I want to introduce you to another character who was peripheral to all of this, but he was British, right? He was the British one. And I think he made comics or something back in the day. And he was called Afro Blue. Now, this guy used to bore me to fucking tears.
Hi guys, this is Afro Blue again. Now, as most of you will
Right.
know, whenever there's a...
He prematurely popped up on the screen, but this is Afro Blue. And obviously you can see his credentials. I think there's a full set of Dragon Ball manga, the little book comics that people buy. I don't know what this is, but I imagine it's some more book comics, and some more book comics, and are they DVDs? I don't know. It's all in 360p. But he weighs in, and he's got fucking... this is to point out and explain and paint the picture of how the drama really escalates. Come on, Afro Blue, you can play now.
Hi guys, this is Afro Blue again. Now, as most of you will know, whenever there's an online feud or little battle going on, I tend to stay out of it.
He
However,
never
at the
did, by the
moment,
way. He'd always chime in, but he'd pretend he was above it. But every single time there was any sort of flame war, this guy would be around sniffing the fucking crumbs of cloud. Come on. Play the fucking vid. I am pressing play, he just won't play.
Going on between Ace Salieri and Jay Friedan, which all came about... due
No,
to
he
the
was
attack
British,
Jay
jeez.
Friedan made on Joey Rue. So far, I've been staying out of it. However, this has been going on so long, and Jay Friedan started using tactics that I don't agree with, to the point that I really want to throw my 2 cents in here.
Right. Before we get into the tactics that Jay Friedan has used in his response to Ace Salieri, we need to again paint the picture of how the war is escalating, because war is changed. War is changed. So there was another few YouTubers that chimed in, but I think the best one was this fellow that wrote an open letter, not only to Jay Friedan, but to the YouTube community as well. And before we get into that, I just need to line up the fucking clip. And we're painting a picture here tonight. We're really hyping up this fight. Okay, so this was an open letter to Jay Friedan and to YouTube. We're painting the picture of how the feud escalated. So, this fellow was an OG king right here. A true patrician. Obviously, he's got the classic TV there. He's got a sort of Casio keyboard there. He's got a broom. and he's about to spit some bars. Let's go.
Greetings, YouTube. My name is Bill, and this is my open letter to Jay Frieden, aka the RPG Fanatic, and YouTube. Recently, there's been drama between Ace Salieri, aka Reviewing a Reviewer, and Frieden when Reviewing a Reviewer did an episode on Frieden.
Yeah, I think this guy was a serial killer. I think he ended up killing hundreds of people.
The mantra or premise, whatever you want to call it, is taking apart videos from really bad reviewers and making fun of them in as many ways as possible.
Okay, so the picture is painted. This wasn't just restricted to two kings duking it out over the term JRPG. And I want to now just paint a deeper picture of who the RPG fanatic was, and the sort of person he was, and the content he'd used to make. We're really getting into it tonight, and this is going to be okay. So. This is the RPG fanatic. So in between criticising Clan of the Grey Wolf and Joey Rue for using the term JRPG, he also used to go to McDonald's dressed as a scary Ronald McDonald and do shit like this. So he's in the car park of the McDonald's. He's dressed as a haunted Ronald McDonald. He's running up to the McDonald's. This is all real, by the way. None of this is fake or kayfabe. And he made a few of these. So he's walking up to the fast food restaurant. He's making his way through the door. A child is screaming. A child is terrified.
Get out of here, please. That's not a good idea.
He's being told to get out of here.
Right now.
The child is screaming in its father's arms. It's screaming, "Daddy, help me."
Hey, you're being a jerk. It's my freaking daughter.
That's his daughter.
Leave.
The screams accompany him upon his exit. Right. But that's not all Jay Friedan used to get up to, because I think Jay Friedan at some point in his life was in the army and used to fashion himself as an internet tough guy. So in the mix of him doing stuff like this, he also used to do like weird karate compilations where he'd show you moves of how to be an expert martial artist. And we're back on Jay Friedan now. And he's showing us moves.
Look into my eyes. Hey man, you got a cigarette? Oh sure, let me give you one.
This is King Tier.
Sure, let me give you one. Say hello to my little friends.
Take note, Neat Samurai, because this is how you flip someone off.
Back bus arrow clear. Boom. Boom. Ah, you samurai. I samurai too. Ah, I am ninja. I use two swords. Japang, japang, japang. Ha ha. Your style tiger paw. Good.
This was the apex of 2007, and I will hear nothing wrong against this.
Hey, how's it going?
Throughout my life, I have used many of these techniques, and I urge you all to
We
grasshopper.
are in a forbidden city on a planet that is very, very far away. I don't know what is going on here. No. Power! Unlimited power!
And on that unbelievable bit of cringe, we are going to move to the next part of this story. Okay. So, obviously Jay Friedan, the RPG fanatic, used to fancy himself as a tough guy. And part of his content as well was doing sort of fitness videos, showing himself on a workout and stuff like this. And there was this is probably where it escalates to the point of no return. Because Acellieri decides to criticize the workout videos. And things get fucking wild from here on out, folks. And I'm not exaggerating this one. I'm not hyping this one up. It's all on the record. It's all on the record. So Acellieri decides to parody Jay Friedan. And as you can see here, in just a second, things have gone from maybe about 5 to 105. Things really heat up from this point out. So stay tuned. Right. So this is Ace's parody of Jay Friedan's content.
Hi, I'm K. Liberty John, and when I'm not busy being a world-class director, filmmaker, writer, tokusatsu director, world-class manga artist, winner of 5 Pulitzer Prizes, 5 Oscars, 10 Congressional Medals of Honor, and 3 Purple Hearts.
Because obviously the RPG fanatic used to brag about his IRL achievements, or supposed IRL achievements.
And say that I'm a fat bastard and that they can beat me up in a fight. But that's just not right. For, you see, I did not achieve this hot body just by, sitting around. I'm militarily trained. I'm in the military.
Because the RPG fanatic was in the military at some point in his life. Every single one of the sentences that he is uttering is a sick burn that pierces deep into the RPG fanatic's heart.
Sexy, K-Freedom, running vid thing. And there's something up my ass too. So let's get ready to run.
So this is where the war truly hits its point of no return. This is akin to napalm being dropped on the Vietnamese.
Sexy hotness.
Damn, why aren't you running faster, man?
I'm running really fast. You're too fast or slow.
Come on, man.
To criticize a man's fitness videos was another level back in the day.
Sexier that way.
All this began over a Lufia 2 review.
Oh man.
So he's mocking the RPG fanatic's stamina.
Already. Wait. Learned that in the military. Do it today. Kwando. Do that.
Shots have been fired, folks. Shots have been fired. Now, the escalation to all of this, it didn't just continue with the RPG fanatic making his own parody video. No. Instead, the RPG fanatic, he used to run a blog, and he decides to go full scorched earth on this blog. We're going to read this blog post out, because this is the incident, really, that again takes it to another level. And then we'll see Ace's response to this, and then we'll get into the big fight of the night. So, this is something that the RPG fanatic wrote. It's called Why Acellieri and His Fanboys Are Being Terminated from YouTube, right? He's got a screenshot here. And he says, visual proof that Acellieri not only uses homophobic slurs, but encourages his fan base to false flag videos and harass other YouTubers. Acer decided that he so strongly disagreed with my viewpoints on JRPGs that he was going to destroy my channel, and proceeded to make 4 videos that slandered, harassed, and misrepresented my viewpoints. Often taking my statements out of context, he taunted me dozens of times using multiple accounts, telling me that unless I removed my opinion videos, he would keep harassing me. He actively encouraged people to harass me, often by trying to flood my videos with profane comments. And he kept this up for a month non-stop. The final straw was when he uploaded a video using my footage that called me a faggot and told me that he would not let up until I apologized to him. For what? Probably blocking him from my channel, but I can only speculate. I can only speculate. War has changed. War has really changed. Now, what this meant was, this blog was a justification for the RPG fanatic flagging down Ace Solieri and getting his channel terminated. That's why Ace Solieri is on Acer 2 now, and not Acer 1. That's why when we Google Ace Solieri, we have to find Ace Solieri 2. Now, this prompted a response from Acer that is almost akin to being in a fucking courtroom.
Greetings, dear viewer. Today in the drama department.
So he's wearing a tie.
News regarding Jay Friedan.
That's when you know it's serious.
Now, today's video is going to be a little bit more on the serious side, completely devoid of humor.
I mean, it took something back in the day for him to wear a tie, address the audience as though he was in court, and defend his record.
Some of you might say that's me all the time, but bear with me here. I'm cutting the crap today for one specific reason. Jay Friedan has recently come unglued with the gaming community as of late.
The gaming community was about 5
We
people.
value respect, and we value fair play, and a sense of decency in the community. We can't let his aggressions go unnoticed.
And he's going to show you
By now,
his
a lot of you
aggressions.
probably realize that A, he's too proud to even admit there's a possibility he's wrong on some obvious counts. B, he's a pompous, stubborn man who believes in censorship of ideas and who actually misrepresents the arguments presented by people. C, he uses other people's footage in
This isn't a problem with the archive. This is just how the video was uploaded, but it carries on.
footage misrepresented. D, he is an out-and-out liar and will stop at nothing to make sure that all you hear is him. He will never cite a source, and he will never back up any of his claims, and he will accuse without proof. These are all the kind of underhanded tactics he employs frequently to blur the truth and distract people from the true issues he's allegedly trying to present. Just for the record, my accounts are Ace Solieri.
I love the old-fashioned YouTube, by the way. There was more heart to it.
He has succeeded in blocking all three, yet he claims without proof that I am thumbing comments up and down. One look at my channel's videos will show you that I don't need to resort to such tactics. My weapons are mockery and debate, not meaningless thumbing.
My weapons are also
This man
mocking
has
and
no
debate.
regard for others and no respect for the general public. If you disagree with him, your comment is gone.
What a piece of
You
shit.
believe in common decency. There's no way you can endorse this man knowingly and still have a conscience. Want some new news? Here's this article where he's asking for $6,000 to make his own.
He's money-grubbing slime. We need to bring that back. And I think we can apply it to,
already have Power Rangers.
well, maybe we'll have to save that for the
Read the comments and watch in
Copacabana.
amazement how he treats people.
At the
This
Copa,
is the face of Terry
Copacabana.
Martell, otherwise known as Jay Friedan.
So it's all escalating, folks. Ace has had to wear a tie. His channel's been flagged down. He's having to address the audience as though he's in a courtroom to defend his honor against the evil force that is Jay Friedan, the RPG fanatic. Now, eventually, all this fucking culminates. This flame war culminates on a podcast where the two of them get in a call and start fucking screaming at each other. And it is the greatest stream that has ever occurred. And I will have no challengers to that crown. Nothing beats what I'm about to show you. Because Fight Night really did matter back in the day. There was real stakes at play. There was a real question to be settled. It wasn't just two dumb retards yelling at each other on a mic. No. They had to settle the big issue of the day. The JQ had to be properly settled and finalized. So we're going to bring that up now. And before we get into it, I just want you to take note of how A, a fight stream is to be conducted, the rules of the game, and B, the level of showmanship that's present here, without the need of OBS, without the need of fancy gimmicks and graphics, and C, without the need of a stuttering tard reading aloud super chats. It was truly a golden age, wasn't it, folks? So let's begin.
Are here because it's been a month and a lot of things have been going on, and I wanted to just get these two together so they could have at it. I'm gonna leave these guys, question each other, tell each other off. I'm just gonna lay back and turn off my mic. But first,
I'll just get some popcorn,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'll do. But so we gotta start this just right. Let's get ready to rumble!
You gotta love it, folks. The showmanship.
All right. Totally necessary.
Okay. So, Asa, what is your malfunction? Like, seriously.
That's the RPG
Why
fanatic.
are you on this over a month now? Despite having your YouTube channel taken down, despite having all of your accounts now flagged with community warnings for harassment, why are you continuing?
So the RPG fanatic flagged all of Ace's accounts.
Continuing this? Last I checked, you're the one that's continuing this, man. You're the one that keeps, making podcast, not podcast things, but you're the one that keeps posting on Twitter and posting on your blog and making a big deal out of it. And I realize it because, you need the controversy. You need the views. I get it.
When is the last time I made a post concerning you? Please let me know. Do you know?
As far back as I know, June 15th is the last Twitter thing, and I stopped.
What day is today?
Today is the 18th, 3 days ago.
So 3 days ago.
Two's channel can see that he's still making videos. In fact, you go to Pissed Jose, one of his alternate accounts. You can see he made yet another.
Pissed Jose was an Angry Joe parody account that Asa used to shitpost on.
I have not
3 days ago. 3 days ago.
Any blog posts I'm making about you are basically just showing the comments that you are making.
But the glory of these kings was that they'd have 3 channels where they presented to be different characters, and they'd always pretend that the characters were entirely separate to themselves.
Why shouldn't they have them, Jay? Jerry?
Now you're interrupting me. Don't fucking interrupt me. I've listened to your bullshit.
I have to stop to address what you say, sir.
You have been harassing me for over a month now. It's gone well beyond.
I have not, and we'll get to that.
You just made a video saying that I'm a donkey fucker. I think.
He made a video calling him a donkey fucker, folks.
You wouldn't call it.
He'll see him in court. It was slander.
This is what I've been trying to ask you for months now.
What is harassment in your definition of the word?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you.
No, I just asked you.
What is harassment?
I just asked you. What do you call it harassment? Because it's very clear what my definition is in line with reality. Now, every dictionary ever made.
You've got to love how they used to define what the definition of the term they were arguing was about, and then completely ignoring it.
Flooding their YouTube channel.
Am I calling you?
Are you what?
You should probably, go slow.
You just got silent. So what's your definition? Tell me.
Wait, did I go silent? Shit.
What's your definition of harassment?
So we're going to skip because there's some mic issues.
With this whole thing. You just took them down out of spite, sir.
He took his videos down out of spite.
And only on spite.
Did I or did I not warn you after the last video? I said, stop harassing me or I'll take action.
And I was harassing you. I was making a parody video or my video or...
You can't do anything. I can say
You did not have to watch it. If you didn't like what was...
really what it's about, isn't it? It's really what it's about. Because it's not me who can't handle criticism. It's you.
Oh!
You're the one that cannot handle it. You were wrong. YouTube agreed you were wrong. That guy with the glasses agreed. American Idols. Various other forms you've been banned from.
So obviously Asa was banned from the That Guy with the Glasses forums for being an A-log of Doug Walker.
I want you guys to hear what this guy is saying because he's clearly insane.
Exactly.
Times have I been the starter of the whole Jay Freed on this, Jay Freed on that. Hey, I'm not going to censor my viewers. They want to talk about you. I'll go ahead and talk about it.
You just switched something by saying how many times you initiated it. I can't even count the number. And
You've never been right.
When have you ever been right? You've been pretty wrong about a lot of the shit you've been saying lately.
I'm wrong at least half the time. Dude, I'm wrong at least half the time.
This was two titans clashing back in the day.
Because he will take offense to doesn't matter how trivial the parody is. Whether you stick him in a video, whether you yourself act.
What they're saying, what they posted up, and takes it down if it infringes on the community guidelines. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's all that's really going on. I don't really consider this to be a
The
war.
chat back in the day for this stream was about 4 people.
I'll stop reporting people when they stop harassing me. That simple.
But obviously the high crime was committed of Jay Friedan admitting to being a flagger.
That's my stance.
Truly an unresolvable sin back in the day. Now everyone seems to flag down and no one gives a shit.
Alright, AC there?
Yeah.
Okay, I've muted Carrie, and I'm going to give you your 2 minutes. Feel free to speak as freely as you want. Is he Joey? Then he's not going to speak for Joey, is he? No, he's not. Goodbye.
We give him written permission to do so, sir.
Joey was actually busy in a podcast, and he said...
Clan of the Grey Wolf was too busy in a podcast, so Asa had to defend his honor against the RPG fanatic.
He did? Well...
He's a coward. He's a coward, and he's never going to atone for anything he's said or done anyone. He feels that...
The gauntlet is thrown. Ace is calling him a coward who will never atone for anything he's done.
I gave him no reason to raise his voice.
Kind of not even being unreasonable here. He's not insulting him. He's not doing anything. All he wants is to speak on Rue's behalf.
Well, if he can hear me...
Right. So that was the culmination of the fight. That was the two titans coming to blows. Now, before we get into exactly what happened to the RPG fanatic just after this, I want to get into a little flavor, a little swan song as to who the RPG fanatic was during his time on YouTube. And to do that, I just need to get this clip up. So bear with me. And this was a real highlights reel of the RPG fanatic's time on YouTube before we find out what happened to him now. Whoa. A true clash of the titans there, folks. Nothing gets better than what we just saw. True 2007 vintage. And this is a little highlights reel of who the RPG fanatic was. And we don't need this yet, because that's for the other part of the stream. In fact, while we find the clip, we've got
The contents of this video
This.
fall under fair use, which means I can make fun of this asshole's industry. Here. Well, you're here, so I guess I gotta talk about something. Oh, hey, that gives me an idea. Let's talk about, G. Kaiser.
They're looking for a hand.
So, so obviously he's taking a dump as he's about to talk about G. Kaiser, which I think was Jay Friedan's Power Rangers series spin-off that he made himself and crowdfunded and e-begged for.
AKA Jay Friedan's little pet Tokusai project. And, oh dear God.
So obviously he's taking a shit.
Let's see here. You see, this is where I actually first came across Jay Friedan seriously. This is where my personal gripe came into play.
That's right, an absolute king. I fully agree, a king upon his throne,
Put together,
laying down the decrees for the kingdom.
experience in filmmaking or television. Have you put together a pitch / proof of concept for this thing before begging your subscribers for money? His response? Block and remove comment. So, seeing as this asshole is running around begging for money like this, and pretty much getting a bad
he was also a filmmaker.
Actually does have experience as a special effects artist.
He was a special
Or
effects
shot
artist.
studio film, but it's experience nonetheless.
He worked on the To Boldly Flee film,
This pisses me off
or Kick Assia, I don't know which.
because it shows that one, he absolutely has no idea what the fuck he's talking about, and two, it's just the blatant arrogance behind it that pisses me off.
Right. I'm just going to bring this back on me because there was a highlights reel of Jay Friedan's time on the internet that I really wanted to show you all before we moved on to where Jay Friedan is now and what he's doing with his life. And I might have to do some crazy searches to find this. And I hope I can find it in time for the hour to be up. In fact, while we do that, we'll put some music on, shall we? Yeah, I think Trooper will play us out. Fucking love Trooper. Thank fuck we found it. Right, so this was one of Jay Friedan's indie films that he made, and I just want you to witness this.
Looks like he had quite the party last night.
I don't know what happened. He's been having emotional problems. He must have done it while I was asleep last night.
Let me tell you what your mistakes were. The gallons of blood that leaked into the floorboards went through the ceiling of the people who lived downstairs. They called the police. Supernatural crime is our little specialty. My agency was called.
So he's going to zoom in on her vagina. He just zooms in on her vagina gratuitously. Chris Balls drops his controller. He's that shocked.
Oh yeah, now we're talking.
It's a little swan song to the RPG fanatic.
Take that, you Nintendo hard bitch! Huh? Who's the fucking wizard? I'm the fucking wizard. That's who's the fucking wizard. I am me. Huh? As you may have noticed, there are a lot of people reviewing video games these days, myself included. And some of these reviewers I myself like to watch a lot. But the majority of game reviewers I've watched just aren't very good reviewers. And I've put a lot of thought into trying to understand why they aren't very good. I'm just being honest here. At first glance, it made me think he just wiped his ass with his hand and wanted to show me the resulting shit stain.
I mean, you know it's bad when even Chris Balls is face palming at your AVGN tribute act.
The Legend of Alon Dar. Bah. Should have been called The Legend of Fucking Fail.
Chameleon Piss Poo was better. What a high insult.
He just farted an earthquake on there. By the way, look at that perfect ass on show. Don't tell me you don't want to tap that.
Don't tell me you don't want to cap that. Holy fuck.
That's not a guy, that's a girl.
But it's to explain and show you how the guy could dish it out, but his ultimate talent was poor as well.
I just spent an hour running around the stupid fucking castle. Unlike some games where your whole fucking party has to die, your main character dies, you're fucked. And so, it makes no fucking sense. It turns out there's a guy about this thick.
Right. So that's a little swan song to the RPG fanatic, and I'm going to show you exactly where the RPG fanatic ended up, because really he was the real loser. He was the real loser in the great JQ question, the great feud of 2007 between Ace Salieri and the RPG fanatic over a Lufia 2 review that the Clan of the Grey Wolf did. So this is him as of COVID, I think, as of about 2020, this is where the RPG fanatic ended up. So as you can see, the years have hit him. The decades have kicked in. My battery's running low, so we might have to fucking get through this.
Hey subscribers to the RPG Fanatic channel and maybe also the J Freedon channel. My old YouTube.
So the RPG fanatic is a bloated alcoholic who lives in an RV now.
I made an update video, and I just want to let you guys know that I'm still live, still around. I have other.
Can you remember we led this stream with how much he was pontificating on how much of a success he's going to be? And how we'll look back on this as a little footnote in the history of his rise to fame.
Is still in the partner program. Still is, amazingly. But over half the videos are not monetized. Because the RPG Fanatic channel
it's
is no longer in
tough,
MCN
buddy.
because,
it's rough.
I exited from the Power Up TV MCN. That's now owned by Thunder Studios. Whatever they're doing with it, it's whatever they're doing with it. It's their asset. Because it's no longer in an MCN, I can't monetize my videos anymore because over half of them have been demonetized manually by YouTube because they say that I can't monetize gaming footage.
Oh, well, that's karmic retribution because you flagged down all of Ace's channels back in the day and you deserve everything you get, you piece of shit. Right, so we're going to do a quick Q&A to round up the hour. We've got about 9 minutes, 8.5 minutes. So ask me anything and then we'll round up the hour. It's cold in his RV. True that. True that. Can we have some new Jahan's Kino, my liege? Well, the Jahan story got fucking really dark. It got incredibly dark, and I don't necessarily want to cover the comings and goings of a serial killer. I think that's up for some like ITV drama to do that. What's the flavor of vape? It's Blue Raz Lemonade. It's not the one I usually go for, but it's the only one they had that wasn't green and pink. Can you do another Jim Sterling video? Okay, well, there is a story there, and I did capture some footage, but I went to an IRL wrestling event he did in Sheffield. Trust me, that's all coming, that's all coming. Trevor McDonald on the Jahan's case, yeah, I think so. Thoughts on Pissed Jose? That was Ace's finest hour. Well, Ace's finest hour for me was the Bobbing for Sour Apples review that we might have to cover if the laptop doesn't die, but it was his greatest review ever. Yeah, he really went to town on a guy called Sour Apple, who was a British video game reviewer, and he bullied him off the internet, and I think he forced him to have a sex change. Do a review of Kick-Assia. We did a review of Kick-Assia back in the day, me and PPP. I'm pretty sure we did a review of Kick-Assia. Do you take advertisements? No. What did you think about PPP's Starfish when you saw it? I thought there is someone that's going to go far. Will you address B-Gems? He said it, folks. He says it every night. Which antediluvian king set you forth on the path to Kino? It was Ace Solieri, which is why the past 3 streams have been purely about the comings and goings of Ace Solieri. Thoughts on Ashens? Is that the man who unboxes stuff from Poundland on his sofa? I can't say I'm entertained by it, I'm afraid. Brian is writing King of Pole 1. Will you be the second chair on the Kino Casino? I can't really let it slip what we've got planned this weekend, but I certainly won't be the second chair on the Kino Casino. What are your thoughts on JMK becoming a trans woman? Now, I did look at all this with great intensity at the time, but I thought, you know, he's just a video away from killing himself, so I didn't want to cover it, but maybe it's time to finally do it now that the dust has settled. Any chance you'll do more trips down 2007's memory lane? Well, there's a hell of a lot of stuff, really. I just went through my personal favourite highlights, but there's stuff that... I mean, 8-Bit Eric, we could do a whole fucking trilogy on him. We could do a whole trilogy on everything, really. But ultimately, we have to restrict ourselves for what's coming this weekend. JMK doesn't get enough flack, in my opinion. Do it. Do it. Well, I'm pretty sure we gave JMK enough flack back in the day when we were saying he fisted his sister and we did like a little mock trial for him. Brian is saying Cope and Sneed chat, KOP won. Persip says, should I be worried about Godwinson? Yes. Because I've got your P45 here, Persip, and no longer will there be any more writers. JMK versus PPP is amazing. What have you won, KOP, thus far? Just curious. So people are beefing with King of Pottle. Beefing with Brian in the chat. I don't know. People are saying gloves off. Will Rage After Storm ever return? Well, let's hope so. I know Kraut wants to drink her blood and fuck her skull upon any return, but I hope she returns. What are your thoughts on the Daimos and Rudy's content? I liked the movie Frick. The movie Frick entertained me. I've actually spoken to Daimo before. He had Faith Vickers' diary posted to him by Pantsu in the post, and he wanted me and PPP to do it on the Kino Casino, and I brought it to them, but obviously it was rejected purely because they wanted to keep Mr. Vickers as a pay pig. It is what it is, folks. It is what it is. But I thought there was some juicy stuff in that diary, specifically as she's talking about planning the pregnancy. You know, and then it being news to Ralph. I mean, that was pretty interesting. You came up with the term writers. I did. Kraut claimed he apologized to her and she regretted making that video. I'll believe, I don't know. Like, Kraut's a good guy beneath all of the sleeping upside down and eating sparrows that fly into his house. He ate a crow, didn't he? You know, you saw that video of him rehabilitating that crow? Well, on Discord with me and PPP, he chewed its head off and laughed about it. But I don't necessarily believe Kraut on the women he A-logged. Mr. Vickers for 20. I'll do that justice, in fact. Mr. Vickers for 20, guys. There you go. Do the writers ever write a script, or do they just find clips? Well, it's both, really. They not only just source the clips, but they also brief and compile it into a narrative. To be honest, what they were doing was quite intensive. Brian says he was the kingpin of all IBS. Okay. He did bite it off live, says Job the Knob. Yeah, Kraut's real ruthless behind the scenes. You think it's all just sort of meme pole ball videos with meme flags on them? No, there's a real heart of darkness there that we don't see in public. Someone says kingpin of outlines. I think that's the winner of this comment section. Godwinson, are you going to play Dragon Quest 12? Yes. Do you see Andy and Pod Awful trying to team up and steal KC's thunder? Well, I think that's probably the best pairing for Warski, because Jesse will just enable all of his addictions, which is what we all want to see. There'll be no moral fagging from Jesse, and Jesse will hope to make thousands of dollars a night just by doing the fake laughter that him and Warski seem to excel at. You know, it's so funny, this conversation that we're having. It's always so hilarious whenever those two talk to each other, isn't it? Especially when one of them is completely off their face drunk and Jesse's been waiting an hour for Andy to show up. Will you attend Ralphomania? Well, I've been invited, so I might do. It depends. What's the best Sonic game? I don't think I've ever played a Sonic game, really. It's never really interested me. I think I played Sonic Adventure for the Dreamcast. I thought that was quite a good game. But that's it. You know, I never wanted to dress up as Sonic. Never wanted to fuck Sonic or anything like these weirdos do. Did the Pinecone win? Yes, she did. Are you going to see the Super Mario Brothers film? No, I've got no interest in that, unfortunately. If PPP begged you for forgiveness, would you redeem him? Well, I've always said it's a long walk back. It's a very long walk back. Thoughts on the Blackbuster critic, king, antediluvian king of our times? Have you ever watched Red Bar? Only when he was completely murking Andy Warski and saying he belonged in the sewer. That brought great joy to my heart. How can PPP start his long walk back? By betraying every single bit of Andy's confidence. I want to see the bank statements. I want to see the cell phone records. I want to see every single chat that they exchanged reeing about Ralph and Fuentes. That's my price. They're my terms of surrender.